911 emergency. What's your emergency?
There's somebody in our store shooting a gun.
A gun?
A gun.
Where is your store?
The good guy.
They just came into the store just firing off their weapons. They walked me up to the front with a pistol to the back of my head, and that's when they said, we got a guy, and he's going to be the first to die. You think that you're going to live to be 80 years old, 90 years old, die of natural causes. You don't think you're going to die when you're 29, 30 years old.
I think his goal was to take down every single one of us and kill us.
If you make me mad, I can kill other people here. I know, we don't want to. I'm not trying to make you mad.
He started shooting from the right side to the left, and I was in the middle. I was praying that I wouldn't get shot. My shirt was full of blood. I didn't know whose it was at first. I assumed it was the guy next to me, but what it really was mine.
When I knew we had hostages, suspects hadn't left. They weren't robbing the place. I said, people are gonna die here. And that's when I said, I'm gonna give it the green light. I keep telling myself it didn't bother me, but it does. Bring back bad memories. A lot of what ifs. I still feel bad about it.
April 4th, 1991 started out a great day. I was a new single mother. I had a daughter, and my next door neighbor, Pam, we had been discussing driving into town to shop. I needed to pick up a few things, and I wanted a boombox. We walked into the store. We were in the front where all the boom boxes were. And I was waiting for help. And then all of a sudden, 4 guys ran into the store with guns. I grabbed my daughter, kept her close to me. I said, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay. You're here with us. They were shooting at the ceiling and the surveillance cameras. I saw the shrapnel from the camera fly through the air. I saw it fly through the air and towards me. I had a piece of plastic stuck in my neck, and it was bleeding really bad. It was so superficial, but it really bled. One of the employees took off their shirt, handed it to me, and told me to hold it tight to my neck. My first thought is, we're being robbed. And we didn't know exactly what was gonna happen next.
The night before, my manager stopped me and he said, you could have Friday off instead and come in tomorrow if you want. And I said, yeah, sure. I wasn't even supposed to be there on that day. I was on top of the world in that I really had everything that a person needed. I had a lot of friends and great social life. I had a good job over at Good Guys. I was a video salesman, and John was a fellow employee that worked with me in the video department. John always had a good attitude, happy-go-lucky, always had a smile on his face. We'd talk about just normal guy stuff, and we kind of would have each other's back, too. I was just getting caught up on things. Then all of a sudden, out of my peripheral vision, I saw 4 gunmen putting ski masks on their face. They just came into the store just firing off their weapons. I ducked down to keep from getting shot. And John looked over at me, and so he ducked down as well. We were both ducked down at the end of the end caps. And these guys went through the store, rounded everybody up. I didn't want to just say, oh, by the way, you forgot me, and walk up there. I mean, you can't take on 4 guys that are armed.
No! You next!
Once they got to the front of the store, one of the guys says to the manager, get on the phone, get on the phone. One of the store managers got on the phone. They called 911.
911 emergency. What's your emergency?
There's somebody in our store shooting a gun.
A gun?
A gun.
Where is your store?
The Good Guys.
John looks at me, and I look at him, and I'm like, well, this isn't going to top the charts as our best day.
I was driving up the boulevard looking for drug people or people doing prostitution, and nothing was happening at all. No radio calls, no traffic stops, nobody was on the air. He said, boy, it sure is quiet out here. And suddenly, the radio makes a lot of noise.
Station to all units. Station to all units.
And it gets your adrenaline really going. And immediately you know there's something bad.
Reports of shots fired at 7020 Stockton Boulevard.
It's going, Good Guys store, 65th Avenue at Stockton Boulevard. Armed robbery in progress. Shots fired.
32, I copied. I'm heading that way.
51. I'm also logged in and headed that way. People are also.
We had no indication anybody had been shot, but we knew they had fired shots.
10-4, 2110.
We came to the store, and I came around to the front, and we still don't know what we have.
Caller says gunmen are still inside the store.
Now, usually when you have a robbery, they drive right up in front. Well, there was no car in front. We knew we had more than 2 people, and suspects hadn't left. They weren't robbing the place. I started worrying about what's around me. I know I've got people in the building. I know I have shots fired. I have people with guns. Don't know who they are, don't know what they want. So I decided we needed the SWAT team and we needed the hostage negotiation team. You never know how it's going to be. The situation can change that fast. I've had situations where we go up and, yeah, this dirtbag's in there and he's doing this and doing that. This one I came up, entirely different feeling. Really, really bad feeling.
I was so scared and upset. We couldn't figure out what they really wanted in the beginning. I just thought they were gonna grab jewelry, money, whatever they can, and leave. But they didn't do that. They were saying they wanted to be normal like everybody else, and that they weren't happy here in the United States. They wanted to go back to Vietnam. And I realized this is not a robbery holdup. We're gonna be here for a while.
Shut up!
My daughter, she didn't know what was going on. She was scared. She didn't know what to do. I would cover her ears so it wouldn't be quite as loud. But she saw the guns. She saw the craziness. I hugged her and it would hurt my neck so bad. I didn't know what to tell her, except that it was okay, she's with me and we'll be done soon. I raised my hand and said, "Can we go use the restroom?"
Go, now, go.
It's okay, we're going.
Let's go.
Okay.
He said, "You have to go with somebody." And the guy that escorted us had a rifle to my back. And my daughter's head was right at the level of the rifle. And we're walking through the store to the employees' break room. At one point, my daughter said, "What's your name? Why are you doing this?" And he didn't say a word, nothing. We just kept walking. It felt like it took an hour to just get to the bathroom. I thought any minute something bad's gonna happen. I need to get to the group. And then by the time we got to the restroom, he wouldn't let us close the door.
Okay. It's all right.
He sat there and watched us. It was so sad to think a 6-year-old has to go through something like that. I didn't like being alone with him because I felt like if anything happens or goes wrong, I could get shot. And they were crazy enough, they would have done that.
I've got people inside, still don't know what's going on. I need information. The first thing I did was set up a command post at the southeast corner of the building so I could see inside the store. Then we got a phone to the suspects so they could talk to the negotiator.
If you make me mad, I can kill other people here. I know, we don't want to. I'm not trying to make you mad. Look, I'm trying to be upfront with you. I'm telling you the truth. The place is surrounded. You're not going to be able to get out with a gun. You haven't shot anyone yet. I know that, I know that.
He found out right away they're Vietnamese. I said, well, what do they want? They wanted to take the helicopter and go to Vietnam. And we said, well, you can't do that. Then they said, we want a bulletproof vest. So I thought, well, I have a vest. But you just don't run right in and give them something. I told them, I want a hostage. The main thing is to get the hostage out. but also because I wanted to know what they had. What's going on in there?
South Patrol Sergeant Bob Lyon was selected to deliver one vest. Lyon was ordered by the gunman to strip to his underwear.
They wanted him naked so they could make sure he didn't have a gun. Suspects inside, they send out a woman. And there was a couple of children they sent out as well. And she told us what we had in there. And we had 4 suspects inside the store. We didn't know much about them. They had in excess of 40 hostages. We're in a lot of trouble.
We were about 6 feet apart. And we were both in a crouched position, which got uncomfortable after a while. But I could see everything that was going on in this wall of TVs.
Listen to me. We have a lot of people here. We got a lot of stuff that we need.
They wanted full-body RoboCop outfits. They wanted bulletproof vests. At one time, they wanted pizza. At one time, they wanted 1,000-year-old ginger root to cook and make tea. They wanted $1 million. They wanted $3 million. They wanted... It was all over the map.
We need helicopters.
But really, what they wanted was a helicopter out of there. About 90 minutes into the siege, one of the gunmen saw John's foot sticking out.
No, please. I'm sorry, please.
He grabbed John, marched him up to the front. The guy who had been doing the negotiating on the phone was just furious, said, "You just volunteered to die. You're going to be the first to die." Guns to his head. And he said, "Go back over there. There may be somebody else hiding over there." That's when I knew they were definitely going to find me. I mean, I had nowhere else to go. As soon as they saw me crouched down, both of them, you know, guns to your head and said, "Get up." They walked me up to the front with a pistol to the back of my head. And he says, you right here. And that's when they said, "We got a guy, and he's going to be the first to die." You think that you're going to live to be 80 years old, 90 years old, die of natural causes. You don't think you're going to die when you're 29, 30 years old. I knew that if they were to kill me, I knew where I was going to go because I had accepted Jesus Christ as my Savior. I had put all my faith and trust in Him. And I knew that if they were to kill me, then they're the losers. They're going to be in jail, and I'm going to be in heaven.
Shoot him! Please don't! Shoot him! Stop!
It was kind of like a movie. something you would see in a movie. That's the only thing that I can really say to kind of describe it.
Are you kidding me?
After that, and that's when the power struggle between the two of them ensued. The guy that was in charge was losing control because he hadn't killed anybody yet. He said, "You're the wimp because you haven't killed anybody yet, and we haven't gotten anything yet. I'm taking over, and I'm running the show, and now I'm going to start shooting people and show you how it's done."
They want the governor. They want the president. One time they want a helicopter, one time they want a tank. They don't really understand the logistics of what they've got themselves into. They wanted to take the helicopter and some hostages and go to Vietnam. But the helicopter can only fly maybe to Oakland from here. So we said, well, we'll work on getting you a helicopter. But we were stalling. We stalled for hours because we didn't want to give them anything that we didn't have to. And if you start making promises, sometimes you can't keep those promises. We were trying to get them to realize it was hopeless, so they finally just say, okay, we're going to give up and come out. They've traced it back to a family close by, and they're heading out there to get whoever's there. They had 3 grown children. The oldest was 21, but the youngest was 17. Parents were under the impression that they were very good kids. They told the officers they had taken the car and gone somewhere, and they didn't know where they were. And the detectives were talking to the hostage negotiation people to see if the kids would talk to the parents. They don't want to talk to the parents. They didn't look very happy. They were very, very upset. Ashamed would be a good word. We run the kids to see if they have records. The only way we found them on the state filing system was the fact that they bought 4 weapons in the past couple of days. So now we have the 3 types of firearms. We have a .45 caliber Star automatic pistol, 2 9mm Star automatic pistols, and a shotgun. Shotgun is a problem. If it's loaded with the right bullets, it can be real dangerous for all of us. So now we have to decide what our next step is going to be.
Get up.
They said, who's the parent of these kids? And I said, that one's mine. And then they pointed at a lady wearing pink. And they said, come here, take these kids, get out. I couldn't believe that. I couldn't go out with my own child. I said, be a good girl, pay attention to what they tell you. Then they were gone. I was just left there saying, what if this is the last time I see my daughter? The lady wearing pink that took the kids out. My daughter's the one with the blue shirt. And I was in shock. Me and Pam were looking at each other like, what just happened? Why did they do this? They separated moms from kids. Who does that? It feels like they ripped my daughter away from me. They were getting even meaner when they didn't get what they were asking for. They started to tie us up with speaker wire. They wrapped our wrists together, and then they tied us to other people in groups of like 4 and 5. He was telling the whole group that he was going to start shooting us one by one, starting from one end, going to the other. I thought, this is it.
When I was in the Korean War, the first thing they taught us was when they tie your hands, they're going to shoot you. Well, they're tying up people up with telephone wire. So we're thinking, this is getting bad. I said, people are going to die here.
All we knew was that these guys are leaving us in here way too long. This is getting way too ugly. There's way too many threats. They felt like we're just giving, and we're getting nothing in return. So now we're gonna have to really shoot somebody because nobody's listening to us at this point. And that's when it really ramped up.
They've been out here for hours. They ain't done nothing for us yet. They ain't listening.
The gunmen went down the aisle and they say, who will be the first to die? Who will be the first to die? There were people that were crying. There were people that had wet their pants. This girl that I was tied to, you know, she was crying and saying, I'm never going to see my husband, I'm never going to see my kids, and I was calming her down. It was just a roller coaster. You think you're going to live, you think you're going to die. They're trying to figure out, okay, who are we gonna shoot? They said, okay, well, we're gonna shoot him. And he pretty much grabbed Sean because he was right there and accessible.
Do it! Shoot him! Kill him!
The gunmen were going back and forth about which one of them was going to get the privilege of shooting him. So they were both pointing guns at his head, then at his midriff, then at his knee. They were arguing where they were going to shoot him, who was going to get to shoot him. They're just arguing amongst themselves.
Shoot him! What are we waiting for? Now!
Then all of a sudden, pop, and Sean's on the ground, holding his knee. And he said, okay, you're gonna get out, but you make sure you tell them what we want and that we're serious. a completely different game when you start shooting people. That's a game changer. I knew that that was the end of the situation. It couldn't really go any further. People were just too mentally traumatized. It had gone on too long. People were getting shot. Something was going to happen.
What happens if they shoot somebody in the head? We couldn't risk them shooting somebody in the head or in the chest. And that's when I said, I'm going to give the green light. The green light means that you can shoot the suspects. We had 2 snipers. The second sniper is to take out the suspect when the first bullet fails. I set everything up and told them what to do. And I said, green light SWAT team. And control went to the SWAT team. We dropped off the vest, and the suspects inside send out a woman. She was supposed to come out and get the vest, and they'd pull her back in. But the way she was tied, it was sort of awkward. And while she was fumbling for the vest, the door was open. That was the only time the sniper had a good shot. The sniper fired, aiming for here. But the door closed as the bullet was traveling. And the bullet hit the door. When the bullet hit the glass, it exploded, and it grazed him along the head. And he turned and went out of sight. And then I remember him coming along, shooting at the hostages as he ran along.
How do you feel to look at that?
Like it just happened. It makes me sad.
After the glass shattered, there was so much going on, screaming, and the bad guy was screaming, and then he started shooting. I think his goal was to take down every single one of us and kill us.
Everyone dies! Do you hear me?
I was praying, and I wouldn't get shot. I heard it coming, and then I heard it pass. So I thought I was in the clear. I thought I was doing good. My shirt was full of blood. I didn't know whose it was at first. I assumed it was the guy next to me because he had been shot. But what it really was mine.
It was really chaotic. There was glass all over the ground, bullet casings all over the ground. Your ears are ringing. The gunpowder you could taste in your mouth. I knew that it was over, and I knew that I was alive. It really wasn't my time, and I was being watched over. God gets the credit for it because he kind of put a hedge of protection around me and allowed these circumstances to unfold the way that they did to my benefit. I can close my eyes right now and very vividly see John's face. There was coagulated blood in his face, and I didn't even know that was even him. Until I saw his name tag, that's how I actually knew who he was. John was one of those ethical guys. I mean, he just went to work one day and just never came home. There's no sense in that.
Pam tells me, "Terry, I think you've been shot." And I'm like, "No, I don't know." And I looked, and I had been shot. You sit down, said lay down, and the floor was covered in glass and blood. It was just blood, guts. It was disgusting. It was gross. It was everywhere.
I stopped at the door, at the glass, and I stood there. I remember people laying there crying. There's dead and dying hostages. We didn't save them, we're too late. Felt terrible. I had a plan. My plan didn't work, so. I feel I failed the people that were wounded and killed. Lots of regrets, yes. I had lots of regrets. I just wish it had never happened. I wish I could have done more. I wish I could have saved those 3 people. It is unpleasant for me to think about this today. Bring back bad memories. A lot of what ifs.
I was shot through my shoulder. It was about a year before it was kind of healed. I mean, healed on the outside. Afterwards, when I got home from the hospital, I was too paranoid to leave my house. I was getting too scared to go to do things that I needed to do. Everywhere I looked, I wanted to make sure nobody was following me. I didn't like big stores. I didn't want to go into a place where I didn't know if I could get out or if there was an easy exit. We've never talked about it. It was a really bad time in our life. It was a real chaotic time that I would never wish upon anybody ever. I don't think I've still fully gotten over it. I'm surprised I can still speak about it.
A year later, I met my wife, and then we had a beautiful daughter. Guess who that is?
Me.
And having my daughter, I believe, is the reason that God kept me alive. That was definitely one of the greatest days of my life. Makes everything worthwhile. I can hear the gunshots, I can see the bodies. But I've compartmentalized it. You don't want that floating around in your head every day, or that'll make a mess of you. You don't have to be defined as a victim. You have a choice, because after that situation happened, I had a great life.
I retired in '92. I retired just before April. There's another April coming up, and has been an unlucky month. A lot of people just don't understand police work, but I tried to be a good cop and do everything right. I keep telling myself it didn't bother me as much as it bothered the other guys, but it does. I still think about it. I never went to the store. After a situation happened, if I wanted electronics, I go somewhere else. So, and I'd drive a wide circle around it when I went down that area. I do that with bad memories sometimes. I just don't want to remember. It's better if you don't remember.